Hey guys, Carlsor here, and today I'm going to be playing a bit of Kerbal Space Program. It's been a while, I realize, but I wanted to go ahead and get back into it today because of the recent release of the newest major version, 0.21. This is actually 0.21.1. They put out a bug fix release a little while ago, and so before I got a chance to start recording this episode, I got that update, and from the looks of things, it's actually better that I'm doing this. By the way, if you recognize the flag that I'm currently using, kudos to you. I'll give you a hint. It's a reference to a once popular, I don't know if it's still going or not, online cartoon series. Anyway, this is the Polar Explorer Mark II. Earlier today I put the Polar Explorer Mark I on the North Pole. I made some revisions to it to make it work a little bit better, and I'm going to put this Mark II on the South Pole. So, as you can see up here, North Pole, Polar Explorer. Here we have Polar Explorer Mark II, and basically it's a rover. This part pops off on top here, leaving just this command module, after I get my Kerbals out of here, of course. Anyway, I can't think of much else to say other than stuff that we'll go through as I'm launching. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the parking brake is on, because I don't want those wheels spinning when we try to touch down. Make sure that the SAS is on. The bug fix release fixed a little bit with the SAS module. It was or the advanced SAS module. It was kind of not really holding onto your attitude very well, and it was better than not having anything at all. But it was still a little bit of a pain. I landed the Mark I on the North Pole without it, so. It's possible to use anyway. It fixed it. It was possible to do stuff with it before, but it's better now. I already tested it out a little bit a minute ago to make sure that I wasn't going to have any problems recording this episode. Anyway, I'm talking way too long. Let's just put this thing into the air already. In 5, 4, 3, 2, shortest countdown ever, 1. Now we're only throttled up to about 2/3, slightly more than 2/3, because otherwise my middle engine will overheat. I'm using an onion style, whatever you call this thing, onion peeler, whatever style, staging, blah blah blah, whatever. If you don't know about that, it's that basically this stage drains into whatever stage is right next to it. So every other one of these drains into the one beside it, so that I get a bunch of thrust right off the bat, but I don't have to carry these tanks with me the whole time. I can dump them, and these tanks will still be full, and then I can dump those, and this tank will still be full. So I get the full advantage of thrust the whole time, without having to carry a bunch of tanks with me the whole time. At least I'm pretty sure that's what the point of it is. So we lost 4 of those tanks. They are now falling back to Kerbin there, and we still have these 4, which will carry us up higher and higher without being burdened down by the other ones that we had and lost a moment ago. And, let's see, what else can I say? Oh, there seems to be... I should probably think about putting in struts between this and this, because when those disconnect, there's no longer anything stabilizing these. I just kind of realized. Oh well, it hasn't really caused any problems so far, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Now we want to go ahead and start pointing to the south, I think. About that much of an angle should work, I think. I'm no expert at this game. I just play around with it enough to kind of sort of know what I'm doing. And yeah, that SAS is definitely holding on to the attitude and the direction I want to go. I guess that's attitude. Much better than it was in standard .21. This patch really fixed that problem. Now once this apoapsis gets up to about 60,000 to 70,000 meters, I want to go ahead and cut my throttle completely, because I don't want to burn up a bunch of fuel too early on. I want to be able to maneuver. And this thing isn't going exactly south. I think that this arc, the direction that this arc goes, has something to do with the turning of the planet or something. I'm not really sure. If any experts out there want to comment, I guess you can. But, yeah, I want to go ahead and cut that. Maybe not completely, but... because I don't want to lose too much of that. But I want to significantly cut it down so that I still have fuel for when I get up there. Yeah. I could probably go ahead and completely cut it now. I'm almost out of the atmosphere. And I want to go ahead and turn almost completely towards the horizon and wait until I'm pretty close to that point, I think. And something tells me that I want to turn just a little bit this way, but I'm not sure. Yeah, the way the SAS works now, you don't have to disable the SAS in order to do your maneuvering and stuff, although sometimes it still does help to toggle it every once in a while so that it kind of understands where you want to be pointing and not just always try to return you. I don't know exactly how to explain it. It works a little bit differently now. It's taking a little bit of getting used to, considering how much I have played the game before. But it's not too bad. And basically, I want to start burning in this direction, which is what I'm doing right now, until this arc goes all the way down to the polar ice cap on the South Pole there. The polar ice caps, the reason I'm putting landers, or rovers rather, on the ice caps is because they have a much different terrain now, so I figured, you know, Kerbinauts might want to explore down there now. Anyway, I know I say anyway a lot. That's like my go-to word when I am kind of babbling and needing to get back to the subject. Digression, whatever that's called. We want to go a little bit past the pole, which we are about to do, and then we want to cut our throttle. Yeah, something like that should work out. We'll be out of the atmosphere most of the time, so we don't have to worry too much about atmospheric drag, but we don't want to completely undershoot this ice cap on the bottom. It's kind of actually more like an Antarctica that's connected to a landmass or something. I don't know. I don't know if it looks any different than the North Pole, but that's what we're here to find out, isn't it? And so now that we're drifting down in that direction, and it seems like we will have a pretty good trip there, I'm going to go ahead and time accelerate a bit. We can get into this view for that. Maybe watch the sun come up over the horizon. Looks like... oh, it's already up. Never mind. Don't know what I'm thinking. Well, we can watch the silhouette. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot. And we can go ahead and watch the silhouette of our thingy as we time accelerate a bit. Drifting majestically through space. And it canceled our time warp because we are apparently starting to touch the atmosphere. But we can still warp, it's just going to be physics warp now, which is a little bit more risky. And there's the ice cap. From this distance it looks kind of the same as the northern one. Some jaggedy edges there. But I think that clears up when you get close to it. That's just the far away texture. There's a different texture close up. I'm going to go ahead and burn this way for just a second. Just to kind of... whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, man. I forgot to cancel my physics warping. Oh, no. It still has parachutes, but it doesn't have any Kerbinauts. Oh no. Okay guys, I'm going to try that launch again, and when I get to being over the pole again like I was just then, I'm going to resume the video. That is a lesson for you all, to remember to turn off your physics warping before trying to burn. I was trying to slow myself down so that I would fall a little bit straighter down, even before deploying my parachutes, and I totally ballsed that up. And so, yeah, we're going to go ahead and... I'm going to cut the video here. I will resume it when I get to basically where I was without screwing up this time. See you guys in a minute. Okay, so here we come on our approach to the southern pole this time, the southern ice cap, and I am going to time accelerate a little bit just to kind of get closer to where I want to be, but I'm turning it off, turning it back on again. I don't want to go through too much atmosphere with that either. And one of the things that I think would be useful, like I tried to do last time and screwed up because I left the time compression on, is to burn a bit this way to slow myself down to make sure that I don't overshoot. Just to kind of shrink up my angle a little bit. Okay, well, I didn't have enough fuel left really for much of that, so let's go ahead and ditch that. And we're already pointed in kind of the right direction that I want to be pointed for deploying my parachutes here in a second. Oh, you can tell that we're kind of going over the pole right now because our perspective is spinning around and so is the nav ball. So we did aim relatively correctly towards the pole. We were at least pretty close to it. I'm guessing it's like someplace over here or something. I don't know. We were near it. After the re-entry heat goes away, because even though I don't think it does anything, it scares me to release my parachutes in the middle of re-entry, I'm going to go ahead and release the drag chutes and allow myself to start dropping towards the ice cap. I do want to point this way to release my parachutes just because they kind of tend to tear at the ship if you're not pointed kind of the way that they're going to come out, and they're going to come out this way because the air movement is going to pull them that way. And so SAS off, parachutes deployed, and they should do the work for me from here on out. So let's take a little bit of a look around. Oh, it's starting to turn me over. I kind of want to follow that dot on the nav ball for a minute until I make sure that I'm going to point the right way the whole time. And hope that this doesn't tear loose, because I've actually, with the Mark I, I had a problem with this popping off. And I don't really need a separate command module, but that's just kind of the way I designed it, so I went with it. That's just the way I decided to do it. And plus, it looks cooler. Once we land, we can put 2 of our carbonauts in here, because that's as many as will fit in the lander can that serves as the command pod of this particular rover. And then our last carbonaut can repack the chute. Well, somebody can go ahead and repack the chute for him so that it's not down to him if he doesn't decide to hold on to the ladder, because I don't have any way for him to climb back up here. But anyway, oh, something broke. What fell off? Oh, it did tear. Well, that's okay, because that all still looks pretty much intact. I don't know what fell off. Something fell off and exploded on the ground. As long as that doesn't land right on top of this pod, we're going to be okay. We can still get all of our guys into the rover and it'll still be fine. I'm just going to try to, like, swing around a little bit to make sure that I'm not right underneath that thing, even though I might end up being right underneath that thing anyway. As long as this pod survives and the rover survives, we'll be fine. I guess this thing still isn't perfect. Okay, so that thing survived. This doesn't have really any way for me to control it, so hopefully it doesn't land upside down. I can't control it right now because there's nobody in it. I'm guessing that what broke off must have been maybe one of the science pieces, or the antenna? No, the antenna's still on there. Or satellite dish, whatever. Oh, snap. Okay, that's supposed to come off. That's just the SAS and the decoupler. As long as they don't get in the way of my Kerbals getting in there. I can't pilot that, of course, right now, but I can go ahead and get these guys out of here so that I can pilot it. So let's start with, let's go ahead and have Jeff Dan. He'll be one of our guys that'll stay up here. Oh, by the way, go ahead and repack that chute because I still want a grand finale, even though it's not going to turn out the way it's supposed to. And, oh, somebody's going to have to go around and repair those wheels. I can go ahead and take off the parking brake and try to nudge myself away from those parts that are in the way. The wheels are not liking that. They look like they're about to snap off, so let's not do that. Let's have Newson as the other guy that's going to get in the pod, but first, let's go ahead and repair these wheels so that they're not looking like they're about to break off. Not the prettiest rover I've ever built. You guys have seen some of my other ones, but it gets the job done. Since I had to attach this one to a rocket, making it aesthetically pleasing was a secondary chore. Making it symmetrical was definitely the primary goal here. Yeah, and when the wheels are all inflated properly and everything, the Kerbals have to kind of jump to be able to grab onto the ladder. I did make an extendable ladder thingy on there, but it's not worth deploying since it does work without it. And yeah, now all of our, well, both of our guys are in here. Mission successful despite the kind of oh my god moment at the end where everything almost went completely bad. And the idea with this other thing was that it was going to disconnect and jettison off. Okay, that's still working, so I could probably still do this. No. Go back to... Oh, man. Go back together, please. Go back together. You jerks. Okay. It was going to disconnect and jettison off the top with Separatrons. And then it was going to settle back down to the surface with... the chute! Oh, man. That was close. I thought that the staging button would do it, but I had to do it with right click at the very last second. Fredney survives. Our guys in the rover are up here to do rovery type scientific things. There are science modules on here. We can go ahead and turn those on to measure the gravity up here, the pressure up here, the accelerometer of the acceleration of the unit, I guess, and the temperature, the thermometer. Yes, we're going to measure the thermometer of the area. Anyway, yeah, parking brake is on, so that'll stay put. The way you do stuff now, normally you'd hit revert flight if you just wanted to, if something was going wrong, you would revert the flight, but since everything went right, we click, you're throttled up. Game cannot be saved at this point. Leaving now, take, no. Throttle down. Even though throttle doesn't matter with this thing, that's something that kind of needs to be fixed. Anyway, if you want to end a flight without reverting, if you just want to get rid of it completely, then if it is landed on Kerbin, you can find it. Okay, we don't want the lander, we want that. And you hit recover. So now it's gone, and I guess in career mode that'll get you your resources back. And with the lander unit, the one that it calls lander, if you want to go back to it, you click on it and hit fly, and that should be our rover. And the way I got the other one changed to actually look like a rover on the map and be called something different is the same as it has been for several versions now, where you just type rename. I can delete that bit, say that it needs a rover icon and is classified as a rover, and say OK. And now that is renamed and reclassified. Awesome. Those pieces will remain there until there's so much debris that it'll eventually become unloaded or whatever, I guess. But for the time being, that is a mission complete, and everything has gone almost according to plan. Despite my screw-ups, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you all next time.